All right, welcome to my FX Buddies, the podcast. And I say podcast because there's more than one place, one form of media rather, to get this content. So the best place to go is the blog, which is at myfxbuddies.blogspot.com. And wherever you are watching or listening to this content, look for a more info, intro, open, description, something like that button. If you click that, whatever, swipe, whatever, another box opens and there's a link to the blog. All right. RSS.com. Okay, this new city or country, rather, if you listen to the last blog, I said, oh, there was a new country, Saudi Arabia. So welcome, Saudi Arabia. That's a little scary too, right? That they're listening. Anyway, yeah, so welcome. That's on rss.com, which is where they have a pretty good transcript. So you open the transcript and I guess they put it in some translator thing and put it to the language that they prefer. All right, so that's that. Anywhere, Amazon Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify.com even. Yeah, so I'm my FX Buddies, Rumble, my FX Buddies. All right, so this one is not going to be fun, not at all. It's just heavy information. I mean, not heavy information, but heavy on the information. Because there's nothing about the rate, nothing about new money. I still haven't heard like directly from Sudani. Mohammed Saleh came out and said something, and we'll go over that. The Kurds and Baghdad are still going back and forth. It's going to be, in my opinion, it's going to be a quiet weekend because although Sunday is the designated holiday, the people who are taking part in this, I hate to say celebration because they're mourning. Even though this person, peace be upon him, whoever he is, he's been dead about thousands of years, they still, this is the mourning of, mourning. So they're walking through the streets and doing all this other stuff. Sunday is the end of that. So I think it's going to be quiet. Hopefully they'll surprise me. I don't know. But I wanted to do this today because, if you go more than 2 days, then you end up having a longer blog post. So, all right. And what else? Yeah. So Tuesday, we're waiting for the Kurds to, sorry, not the Kurds, the court case to see if they're going to let those 3 laws that were voted on in one basket, if they're going to allow those to go through or not. There's no date. I haven't seen a date for the next parliament session, and maybe that's what they're waiting for, to see what the ruling is on Tuesday. Let's see, what else for people who just want a quick hit it and quit it update. That's it, really. Yeah, that's off the top of my head. That's what I can think of. All right, so we'll get into it. This is gonna cover news from the 23rd and the 24th. So this isn't even the most important article. I just chose it because it is good. It's a good positive article and it has a picture, right? So the president of the republic reviews Iraq's long-term economic development plan in Davos. So here's him, Abdul Latif Jamal Rashid. So I would say overall they had a successful time because I believe today was the last day. I'm not sure, but I think it was. So he gave his speech, but also he met directly face to face with Klaus Schwab. If you don't know who that is, that's the man who started the World Economic Forum. And they talk a little bit about their relationship. And I didn't post that article here because this one's better. But you could see Klaus Schwab wants them to focus on global issues. And he's like, yes, but nationally, I'm talking about us and Syria. So he stood his ground. He really was like, yeah, this right now we're into us, rebuilding us and Syria and probably, the other one whose name I'm not going to say. But yeah, okay, so this was the speech he gave. It does seem to be complete. Look how long it is, right? So if you want to come read that, you can. But where was the part? So they do actually get into like the green stuff that the WEF likes here. Expanding greenbelt projects, rainwater, collecting rainwater, all that stuff. But let's see. For 39%. Yeah, so there's more about the land. He says, I'm pleased to be with you today at this important meeting. Oh, as a water management engineer with decades of experience. Wow, I didn't know that. I've devoted a large part of my career to addressing water scarcity issues and developing sustainable land use methods. Now that would make sense, right? Growing up over there where he grew up. So I may have put the wrong speech. Let's see. For the more stable land. All right, sorry. I know I'm reading because I'm trying to find. See, it's bolded, and I'm not good with technology stuff, right? And even though I try to unbold it so I could make it a different color, it doesn't work. So the parts, usually I can focus right in on what I want to say. No, this is the one all about water and land. Well, doggone it. I put the wrong speech. But anyway, you could read that. But he does say they want a they want to protect their livelihoods, preserving ecosystems, and ensuring a sustainable future for us and our children. And I will say, they've been running programs, usually in the wee hours of the night for me, showing all the fruits they used to grow, the fruits and the vegetables, and how they transported them. Like maybe when they barely started having TV in color, that's how old it looks. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting because they're trying to develop and grow their agriculture again. So they're proving that they were at one time, I don't know if they were the food basket of the region, but definitely bountiful and abundance was, they clearly had that. All right, okay, so anyway, so here is, now we do hear from the Prime Minister, but not directly. So here he's meeting with the heads, I think the chairman of some board and the head of the Arab Monetary Fund. And they're just, this is probably like an update visit because Iraq is the second largest contributor after Saudi Arabia to this fund. I did not know that. How is that possible? Because we know Iraq is really rich, right? So yeah, so I bet you this was just like a, hey, what's going on? Give us a status. But they did show it on the news, and there's Sudani. There's the Saudi guy. I mean, I think they're both Saudis. I know this one is. Yeah, so I can't answer that right now. All right, let's see. Here's another report confirming Iraq's commitment to combating money laundering and terrorist financing. And they had this in a couple of different places, so I think they're proud of this. And they had trained in the past year more than 3,400 people with this knowledge. All right, let's see. So this is positive. They put Article 12, the amendment that we're waiting for, they put it in the newspaper. Normally, when they do that, that means they're getting ready to vote on it. They want the people to be able to read the text of it, and then the next time they meet, they'll vote on it. So I was really surprised to see that, but maybe that's their intention. I don't know. Hopefully it is, but we'll see. Like I said, I don't think there's going to be another session until we get past Tuesday. Here's the chairman of the Securities Commission. He was interviewed and he announced that they had growth of 16%. They were they being interviewed? I don't think they were being interviewed by the World Bank, but he said that is in cooperation with goals that the World Bank has for them. So, yeah, that's good. All right. Here is Aliyah Lock. So there's something going on. One way for them to launder money is through real estate. And they've been talking about this for like a week and a half. I did not talk about it because it doesn't have anything to do with the RV, but it's so much of a problem. Well, what they did was they said, okay, any real estate transaction over 500 million dinars has to go through a bank now. I guess previously it just went through whoever. I don't even know. I mean, I know they have a real estate ministry, but do they have escrow accounts? Do they, all the stuff that we have? Do they have that? I don't know. Probably not, which is probably how they were able to launder money through real estate deals, right? But so, yeah, so they made that a law, not a law, but what, a guideline, a rule? I don't know what you would call it, but they put that in place. And of course, people are all in uproar, right? Because if they go through a bank, then their money's tracked, even if they're not laundering money, because you're going through a bank, you have to have an account and it's traceable, right? So, and only criminals don't want their transactions traced, right? That's what they'll lead you to believe. So it got them so upset, they brought Aliyah Locke before the Parliamentary Finance Committee to question him about it. And from what I can tell, they are sticking with it. So I guess he said, forget y'all. I don't care what you want. We know you're laundering money, and we're stopping that. Okay, let's see. Here's another. This is an interview. Let's see. Yeah, this is an interview with the president. And he says, our relationship with America and Iran is good. And we are not under the control or will of any country. Yeah, right. Wait till I show you something that will negate that. But let's see. Here's another one where it's all bolded, right? But this time they let me change the color. So he actually says the T-Man's return is an important step to resolve conflicts in the world and the Middle East. And Iraq is now free of, I'm not going to say this word, but really scary, not nice people. Let's start with a T. operations and what remains of that with the ism at the end does not exceed a few pockets. Our relations with the U.S. are good, and we thank the American position for standing by our side in fighting the terror, right? Organization that I'm not going to say. Noting that the American forces are present under bilateral agreements and at the request of the Iraqi government and in coordination and consultation with the political forces in Iraq. So he says everything he's probably supposed to say. So yeah, skip that first speech and read this one. This is the one. He even wants the new administration in Syria to do well. So this is the one that I had in mind. Yeah, I probably should have put that one first, but oh well. All right, so let's see. That's not important. You could read that, but because we're going to run out of time, I'm going to skip it. Here's my one commercial. You could buy me a coffee. This is a link. And then here's the QR code. All right, so this is a little worrisome, only because it is ambiguous. They start that this article starts out with ambiguity, and that is a word. What's the other word? Uncertainty, doubt. Those are words that are in a lot of the articles because they don't know what the T-man is going to do. They do know he wants oil to get to $60 per barrel, and that's not good for Iraq. Okay, so this is an article that is in Telegram, and I was trying to get the link, but the only link it would go to, you had to join this Telegram group, which is in Arabic. So I'm hoping maybe tomorrow or over the weekend, well, tomorrow will be the weekend, it'll come out because it's Nabil Marsumi, and we've heard of him. They put him in other websites, so I don't know why they didn't put this one in website, right? So he says, among other things, if prices drop to $50, right? So $50 per barrel. He's not trying to go to 50, at least not in the articles that I read. It said 60. So, and if you don't know, Saudi Arabia likes $80 a barrel. I've read that. I read a lot of oil articles. Oilprice.com is a free website you can go to and read lots of boring stuff about oil and oil around the world. Okay? But yeah, so the Saudis like $80 a barrel. Iraq likes $70. And the T-man's like, we went down to $60. And then he gave a new reason. He came out and said, matter of fact, it might be in this article here, but he said that will help make Putin poor, right? It'll break his bank and end the war. So I don't know how he figures that. Maybe he knows what he's saying, but that did come out today. Okay, but listen to this. If prices drop to $50 per barrel, reducing the exchange rate of the dinar, not the dollar, the dinar, will become one of the important options to raise public revenues denominated in dinars to reduce the deficit gap in the general budget. So I know there's people out there that say, oh, they can't lower it anymore. Well, there you go. This is Nabil Marsumi, respected. They interview him. He's on the talk shows. They put his opinions in they put him in the news. So, but also remember, he's the one that they call the pessimistic one. So, but I mean, he's trying to show them, hey, we can't we can't let the price get too low. So here, the title of the article that starts with ambiguity is the T-Man storm hits OPEC, sparks fears in Baghdad. So if you don't know, the Saudis called, here again is the $50 per barrel, but it doesn't say that would lower the dinar. So this is a pretty good article of what could happen. So you might want to read that. Okay, so the Saudis contacted the T-Man and was like, hey, when you coming over? Remember we had such a good time last time? And he was like, $500 billion. You got $500 billion? I'll be there. So then the Crown Prince bin Salman Aziz, all those names, he says, we got 600 billion for you. So then the next day, Trump's like, well, how about a cool trillion? How about $1 trillion? So at Davos, the finance minister, I don't know, it may be energy. Maybe he's the energy guy. But someone is in Davos representing Saudi Arabia, and they asked him, the T-Man just said, bump your investments up to $1 trillion. And he's like, oh yeah, with the investments that we put in the public and private sector, yeah, we'll reach that easily. Must be nice, right? So I just wonder what there has to be something that they're bargaining for, right? And OPEC is losing influence because other countries, like they're on the African continent. They are not part of OPEC, but they've developed, if that's the right word, they've developed with help from China, more than likely, their oil fields, and they're producing oil. And since they're not part of OPEC, they don't have to limit their barrels per day like the members of OPEC do, right? So if they can't control the amount of oil that's pumped, then how can they manipulate the price, right? So somehow they have to address that. And it's going to be interesting to see how they do. So this article is written by this gentleman. And even though the focus, well, okay, I can read the title. It says, from Washington, the Iron administration is determined to correct the terrible mistakes in Iraq, restrict weapons to the state. So this guy, he lives in Washington, even though he's Iraqi. He's here. He wrote an article, and you should read this. It deals with, I don't talk about the unofficial military groups. I don't want to say the word. It's a trigger word. Trigger. But one of the things that is being bargained, we want one of, maybe two even, of the Iranian-backed factions. We want them disarmed and moved out. And Iran is of Iraq, right? So they're Iranian-backed. Everyone knows it. They're in Iraq, right? And we want them disarmed and removed. And Iraq is like, well, if you're going to get rid of them, then there's another little group up north you might want to get rid of. And it doesn't seem to be going well. Okay, so that's one file I don't talk about. But look at this. So he said these are some important files. These are the things that have been handled mistakenly the dollar and oil files. So I like that. So hopefully they'll fix it. See, Sudani's taking proactive steps to fix things. He was trying to get it done before the new administration settled in the White House. But that didn't happen, so now we are where we are. All right. I'm going to skip this, but you should read this. This is another warning. Also, another person saying that there is a crisis, a liquidity crisis, a price crisis, a government spending crisis, even though they tell us that there is not. And here he even says 1 USD is about 1,300 IQD. That was part of the article. I didn't put that there. It was part of the article. Okay, let's see. Now, this is Mohammed Saleh. He came out today, Friday, to talk about insurance. Getting the people to get car insurance. Well, see, car accident insurance, life insurance, other types of insurance. And the people are like, we don't have enough, purchasing power to buy our basic needs. And you want us to be buying insurance? Oh no. So yeah, this is an interesting article. You should read that. But what I want to focus on is these articles about the banks. Oh, here, so I might go over a little bit, like 5 minutes, but here, how Iraq is delivering innovation through its leading businesses. So they're already going to have the IBBC, Iraq Britain Business Council meeting again, February 17th. But that's my phone. The slogan, they usually have the slogan easily to see. But whatever. I think it's about AI. And then you can see some of the people that are going to be there. And if you click, oh no, there's a link in here somewhere that will take you to more detailed. Oh, maybe not. Maybe they don't have, oh, yeah, probably here. But anyway, all right. So, I just wanted to go over, here's 3 articles about the banks. We control their banks, and we have controlled their banks. Here's even a former member of parliament. America imposed control of Arab banks over financial transfers to Iraq. We control their money. Their oil revenues go first to the Federal Reserve Bank in New York, and then we dish it back to them. So that's why it's such a joke for them to sit up there and say they're a sovereign nation. We control their oil, and I'm going to show you. If you remember Halliburton, here, Halliburton to develop 2 oil fields in Iraq. Halliburton was there from the beginning, and they're still there now, and they just did another heads of agreement deal with Iraq. So, Cheney, yeah, I bet you the little bushes that are in Texas, they get paid. I believe of every barrel of oil that's processed and sold, they probably get some of that. But we even control like 70% of Iraq's airspace. So they're not sovereign, but they'll get up on every stage and say, we are sovereign, and no one, not Iran or America, is going to tell us what to do. So that's why they're stuck in such a hard place. So we're the ones who told, okay, Jordan, you're gonna do this right? You're not gonna smuggle money to Iran? Yeah, okay, you promise? And you're not gonna fund the T word that I'm not gonna say? X, and of course they said no, right? So it's four. One article says 4 Jordanian banks, another one says 8. See? 8 Jordanian and Gulf banks control money transfer operations in Iraq. And so then remember, Iraq was complaining, what's up, America? You're supposed to be helping us rebuild, help us reconstruct. How are you going to take the dollar transfer and give it to Jordan? So recently, they let 1,000 banks, 1,000 Iraqi banks, get in on the new system. And what happened? 10 banks got caught trying to smuggle money. Remember that? Do you remember the 10 banks? So here's the 1,000 Iraqi banks and offices of local economy and financial autonomy. So we control their banks. We have controlled their banks, probably since we went over there. So it seems like people may have just heard that for the first time. I mean, the U.S. Treasury has a whole floor of the CBI building. Why is that? Right? All right. So we're over 30 minutes. So I know that was boring. I know it was, but that's where we're at. There's laws. We're looking at laws. I'm fairly certain there's negotiations going on behind the scenes, which is why we're not seeing Sadani come out and say, I mean, he's not even out opening factories or schools or anything. I don't know what he's doing, which it's not like him to be. This will probably be 4 days now that I haven't seen him out. Just that one image of him meeting with the Arab Monetary Fund. So, yeah. So we'll see what happens after this weekend. And today's Friday, right? So unless there's something stellar, which I doubt, tomorrow I probably won't post. I'll probably post again on Sunday. So thank you for listening. I hope this was helpful. Still, don't give up. I mean, if you have to step away for a little while, I don't blame you. But still, accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals. Don't pay any bills. Sorry. You make sure you pay your bills. I'm being distracted by something on the. I'm watching their news, but I think that's a replay of something anyway. All right. Yeah. So if there's a like, subscribe, join, follow, whatever one of those types of buttons where you are listening, activate that. So that way, when I do update, you'll be notified because I don't update regularly. And if technology works like it's supposed to, when I do update, you'll be notified. All right. Enjoy your weekend. There's some football games on, which I will care absolutely nothing about. I think I'll watch the Eagles, but all the teams I go for, they're out already. Yeah. But I'm still a fan of football, so I'll watch. But yeah, so stay warm. We're supposed to get rain, which would help the fires, but it has to be a balanced, because if there's too much rain, that's going to make damage of like mudslides and make a mess of things. But yeah, so just pray for California. All right, so that's it. Thank you. I appreciate all new subscribers. I appreciate anyone who's donated. You'd be surprised what $5 can do. For me, you can buy me a meal, okay? Anyway, so yeah, that's it. I'm just rambling now. So enjoy the rest of your morning, night, noon, whatever time frame you are listening. And until next time.